All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this episode of the show. Please feel free to hit the like button, sub button, and the subscribe button, notification bell as well. FanDuel is the official sponsor of the show. Shout out to them. Get all your prop bets in at FanDuel. And this episode of this update of the coma, man, let's cover this, man. Yard Barker's report about the Saints getting help from the wide receiver position as the rumors continue to swirl and swirl they are as we approach March the 9th. A lot of stuff's going on. A lot of Saints are under the scenes looking at multiple people. There are rumors all over the place about who the Saints could possibly pick. Let's do a quick cap check. As you can see right here, $19.9 million is what the Saints are dealing with. As of right now, we'll see more finagling of that happen as we move further into the season. All right, here's an article. Shout out to Yard Barker by way of Sports Illustrated. New wide receiver fit emerges for the Saints just days before free agency, right? So what is this all about, right? Let's hear what the article has to say. Saints arguably the biggest need for the franchise is the guard position. I agree. A lot of people think wide receiver help. Another cornerback, because Alontae Taylor is definitely out of here. Another big time running back because AK-41 situation. He's a 1 year left on his deal. Kendre Miller, an edge rusher. Also could be a need. Edge rusher always is a need, right? You can never have too many pass rushers that are good ones. Is there as Cam Jordan, Demario Davis are both scheduled to hit the open market as well. So the Saints have been hard at work restructuring, including Alvin Kamara, headed free agency, free open that cap space. The Saints are sitting over $20 million or $19 million, roughly just under $20 million. I just showed y'all that in terms of the space. Now, according to Fox Sports, Fmr McKenna, he tabbed Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jalen Nailor as an ideal signing for the Saints while throwing cold water on the idea of massive expenditure. So what he's thinking more of a quality reserve for the Saints. Now, the Saints, McKenna wrote that wide receiver Jalen Nailor, I don't think the Saints are going to extend themselves financially this offseason, not when they're already $44 million over the cap. The guy needs to do his research. Saints are not there anymore. We're actually almost $20 million in the black now. So we're our books are good. But a guy like Nailor is compelling given what he might be able to do with bigger role in New Orleans. Kellen Moore and Tyler Shough showing promise at the end of last year. Nailor might see New Orleans as a place where he can realize his potential, perhaps even on a 1 year prove-it deal. This was before all the restructurings happened. The Saints are not over $44 million over the cap regardless. But the idea of Nailor is more interesting. He's just 27 years of age, had 29 catches, 444 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. And in 2024, 28 catches for over 400 yards with 6 touchdowns. So if the Saints view Devon Vele as a number 2 receiver, this would be a great get production-wise as a third option. But he has the talent and could do more. Now, the Vikings pass offense struggled last year, to say the least. Justin Jefferson, who many view as the top guy in football, racked up over 1,000 yards last year and a step back from the 1,500 he did the year before. So Nailor's production was pretty solid, especially when you consider the fact that Jordan Addison is Minnesota's number 2 receiver. So all this to say, landing someone like Nailor may not sound like a big move, but his talent and a bigger opportunity could do himself well and the Saints well as well. So Nailor, and there are other wide receivers that they're making mention of, but we often talked about what things look like in the Saints wide receiver room, there is a lot of the Who Dat family members out there that believe that it would definitely benefit the Saints to aggressively see if they can add some wide receiver help there to the room. And as I show you guys the depth chart in terms of that, if you look at this current depth chart, it shows you who we have. You got Chris Olave under the 1 year. I think the Saints eventually restructure him. Devon Vele coming off an injury. Mason Tipton is still is a prospect, but still unproven. Has made some few things here that hasn't really stepped out that big. Bub Means has potential, but Bub Means has been a guy that's been hurt. We still want to see what he can do. Kevin Austin Jr. actually stepped up and did some wonderful things last year in role with Tyler Shough, being that he was on the scout team with him, had good chemistry. Dante Pettis is a free agent. I think he doesn't return. Trey Palmer is still on a 1 year deal. The Saints picked him up last year. He never got an opportunity ability to play. He's a speed demon, very fast, good route runner, kind of undersized, but the guy has the speed to stretch the field. And then you got guys like Jalen Polk, who the Saints gave up a pick for to get Jalen Polk. I think they gave up like a 6th-round pick to get Jalen Polk, who was a second round wide receiver, in terms of talent. So the Saints see him as something that we need to pay attention to. And before we get to the rest of it, I guess to say the key to it, not in terms of the X factor situation. Who's the X factor? Is Jalen Polk, because like I said, what the Saints gave up to get Jalen Polk, a late pick to get a 2nd-round wide receiver who the Patriots picked up in 2024. So he's a guy that I think Kellen Moore sees as a potential player in the wide receiver room. So when we hear family members talk about, hey, Q, we need to get a wide receiver, I'm not mad at you. We can get talent, add more talent there. But Jalen Polk is definitely a part of the Saints' plans. But you got Chris Olave, Devine Vele, Tipton's in there. But Jalen Polk, I believe, is a lot higher in mind of the coaching staff than we are giving him credit for. Like when we talk about the wide receiver room, sometimes they forget Jalen Polk and mentioning him. And I think that he will have more of a factor in the wide receiver room than a lot of people anticipate. And then the rest of them is Ronnie Bell, Elijah Cooks, and Damian Alford, or Moose Alford, the big wide receiver they picked up from Canada. So 6'6", 210. So this is the Saints' current wide receiver room. Of course, we could use a veteran wide receiver Saints could pick up in the second tiers of free agency, or maybe somebody that can help us out. But in the end, when you talk about bringing in talent in the wide receiver room to kind of help the Saints develop and grow as they were, and keep giving weapons to Tyler Shough, because that's really what it's all about, is to continue to keep adding weapons with Tyler Shough. And like I said, Nailor's a good wide receiver, good speed. He's a guy that is at 5'11", 190. And like you see right here, he averaged 15 yards per catch for them last year on 29 catches for a touchdown. So this is one of the people that they're throwing at us as a possible player the Saints could be looking at to stretch the field and perhaps provide some versatility in the wide receiver room that is still very much outside of Chris Olave, unexperienced. Let's just say it like that, right? Unexperienced. Talented, but unexperienced. So what do you guys think about this, man? Let me know in the comments section below. What do you think about our wide receiver room? Which one of the guys out of the wide receiver room that you see as an X factor, or guys that could be people that could really push for real starting time in the upcoming season? What are your thoughts? Fill in the comment section below and tell me. So with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. I appreciate you guys for chiming in. Shout out to FanDuel. Y'all get y'all prop bets at FanDuel. Hit the like button, subscribe button, sub button, and notification buttons. Light them up at Sports Coma. Updates, man, as we will return later on with more updates. So with that being said, I'm out. Y'all be safe. Much love, peace, and who that to you.
Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thehootitdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thehootitdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.